Right now on the National Weather Desk, no rest for the weary, rising floodwaters, dramatic rescues, and now even more relentless rain in the forecast.
We've been looking forward to rain, but not this much.
I would say this is like the worst winter I've seen in this short amount of time.
Trapped in a tree, how this man got stuck and how crews got him out.
He tried to run to get out of the way and he ran the wrong direction.
We'll help you better understand what's causing all the rock and landslides.
Typically it happens when we're dealing with a very wet season storm that comes on shore.
And the lack of cold weather in the Northeast takes a toll on popular winter activities.
People are itching to get out on the ice and enjoy the outdoors.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
And good morning, everyone, and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I am Angela Brown. We begin today again in California, where the ruthless rains are leading to more flooding, more rescues, and really more heartbreak. 17 deaths are now blamed on the series of storms that began late last month. Statewide, 50,000 customers are still in the dark this morning. Now that's down from nearly 250,000. Crews are working to clear debris and reopen roads before another storm arrives later today. In Los Angeles, firefighters rescued 2 people from a vehicle after a sinkhole swallowed their car. Over the past 2 days, mud, rocks, and debris washed onto many California roads, as you can see here, forcing them to close and also stranding many drivers. In Central California, a falling eucalyptus tree fell, killing 2 people, hitting a motorcycle and a pickup truck on Highway 99. Crews closed the highway for hours to remove the tree and to also clear that scene. And now to Union Station in LA, where golf carts right there are being used to get around. You can see some riders walking through ankle-deep water in some cases, while others were using golf carts to stay dry and then riding around in them. The water was eventually pumped out, but the flooding kept coming. A dramatic rescue in Santa Barbara County. Look carefully, and you can see a white truck just to the right. You can see it there, of a blue boat covered by raging water. You can see it over there with the trees. The brave firefighters were able to get the driver out of the truck and bring him or her to safety. This Nevada highway is closed, and I think it's pretty easy to see why if you really look at this. Massive boulders fell onto State Route 208 southwest of Reno. Cleanup here will take some time. And remember, that rock slide caught on camera in Fresno. It's one of the iconic images of this storm. Cleanup was well underway there yesterday, but check out the size of the rocks compared to the equipment. It gives you an idea just how big they truly are. And in Three Rivers, California, just south of Fresno, many residents woke up to their backyards simply being washed away. You can see it right here. Some residents telling our Sofia Lesios they have never seen a storm like this.
We've been looking forward to rain, but not this much.
It's been crazy watching the sheer force as it builds up.
It's been pretty exciting.
Lots of debris, lots of debris.
That is just what some of the residents of Three Rivers are saying after Monday's intense winter storm. Many people had nothing else to do but sit back and watch as their backyards washed away right before their eyes.
It's out of your control. And so I was sitting there waiting for, my barn to be blown apart in pieces. And then I have a trailer that is totally destroyed, and I was waiting for that to go down to the river.
Now, many people are stuck across the broken bridges in the North and South Fork.
You can see that the guardrails are still on, and you see just this massive pile up of debris that just happened over several hours, just jamming everything up.
And a lot of people here stranded. I don't know how supplies holding up, but for everybody, there's some sick people, old people here. You know how it is. There's medications need to be picked up, and I don't know when they're going to fix it.
Have you ever seen anything like this while you've been living in Three Rivers?
No, and I've been here 10 years now, and that was some serious stuff yesterday.
Well, the Bay Area has also been hit hard by the storm system, bringing heavy rain, strong winds, and flooding to the region. Liane Melendez has more.
One needed to see it to believe it. A minibus crushed by a tree on Sutter near Stockton in downtown San Francisco. For Sam Moharib, the owner of this black SUV, it was a terrifying moment when the tree also took down power lines while he was still inside the car.
Everything started getting dark, heard the branches hitting the car. I looked around, I saw sparks everywhere around me.
So the power lines were active?
They were active and still active until now. That's why we cannot go back to the car.
5 minutes later, a hailstorm covered the city. With it came lightning, dozens of strikes across the city, including on the iconic Sutro Tower. But the fallen trees continue to be the city's main issue. Since New Year's Eve, Public Works has responded to about 1,000 downed trees and branches. Today alone, 14.
We really have been out hustling all day long since pre-dawn, mainly dealing with downed trees. That's the big issue right now, as well as some localized flooding.
And to Reno, Nevada now, where snow has been impacting that region. The video was taken on Interstate 80 by California Highway Patrol at the California-Nevada state line. The interstate was closed because of hazardous conditions. Right now, the snow at higher elevations is really melting. And as Marigo explains from Reno, it's causing major flooding at lower elevations.
Holy bejeebers.
Don't overwater your garden.
Well, if this gives you any idea, here's my boots.
Unfortunately, they had no choice at Old Stonehouse Gift and Garden Monday when the ditch at the base of Toll Road in South Reno overflowed into their overflow employee parking lot.
There was really not much you can do.
What's going through your mind at that point?
Just that I hope that there's not too much.
But the water kept coming.
Here are 5-gallon pots sitting on the ground inside the greenhouse. That's how much water is back here.
In the brief pause between storms, employees were assessing the damage.
We actually weathered it pretty well. A lot of sediment in our greenhouses, probably $10,000 worth of gravel washed away, a lot of debris in my parking lot.
Longtime owner Stephen Giassi says it could have been worse, but wishes the ditch was better maintained.
And the people that own the property here, which I think is the RTC, and some other people, they need to clean out these ditches.
And now here's a look at what's next for California. The atmospheric river that's been delivering all that rain, all that snow to California will continue. But while Southern California will be getting a break, problems will persist in Northern California. Another 1 to 3 inches of rain is likely from San Francisco to the Oregon border, with higher amounts locally. And then another storm moves in, bringing more rain this weekend and then early next week. And in Utah, crews helped a man who was caught in a river after a massive avalanche at Bridal Veil Falls and Provo Canyon. At first, Salt Lake reporter Amanda Gilbert was covering a story about the avalanche itself, but the unexpected happened and she ended up with exclusive video of the rescue. Let's go to Provo Canyon for this story.
An avalanche this size.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. It's pretty wild.
It's something a lot of people haven't seen in a while or ever.
It was so much bigger than I thought it would be.
They came out to FaceTime, drone, and take pictures.
We just drove up here and it's huge. There's so much snow.
Scott Bergendorf and his friend were inspecting the river after it was blocked by all the snow and fallen trees barely moving. Then the river broke suddenly and his friend was swept up in the water.
Suddenly the avalanche dam broke and the water started coming in. He tried to run to get out of the way, and he ran the wrong direction.
His friend grabbed onto a tree and waited until the water receded.
But I was obviously super concerned, especially when I saw him almost wash away. I was super nervous for him, and you can't really do anything standing up here.
He made his way to a cement slab. You can see he was struggling.
Yeah, you have no idea what's going to happen. More could break and more water could flow at any time.
Eventually, crews helped him off the slab and rushed him to the hospital for hypothermia. Not long after that, the river water started to rise again.
And viewers in Fresno area have been giving us lots of video, lots of pictures of the storm. First up, a sinkhole that formed on State Highway 198. You can see it will take some time to get that road back open. Next, hail falling in the town of Coarse Gold. You can see it there. That's a rare event in California. Hail just doesn't fall that often. And finally, a very ominous cloud. Look at that over community. If you look carefully, though, there is a part of a rainbow there, a hopeful sign the storms, at least for today, are ending. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, in California, lots of terrifying and also fantastic moments caught on video like this. You're looking at right here. Find out why these landslides happen. We'll also tell you where a warmer winter can spell danger for some fishermen.
It's chilly in the Northeast this morning. Good morning, everyone. We have some clear skies, temps in the teens and 20s early on. By afternoon, we're back in the upper 20s and low 30s, so it's a seasonably cool day. The trend is for increasing clouds. See those clouds moving in? And our next weather maker should bring a little bit of light snow changing to rain. Notice the blue changing to green right there as a steadier and heavier precip starts to move in. We'll see a change over to rain area-wide. That will be late Thursday and into the day on Friday.
I'm meteorologist Jonathan Myers, and here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. Up and down the 95 corridor starts on the chilly side in the morning. Temperatures going to be in the 30s, maybe even a couple of upper 20s. By lunchtime, well into the 40s to near 50, and even some low to mid 50s across portions of West Virginia and central and southern Virginia. I think we make it to right around 50 across Maryland. Dry, nice weather continues. Fair weather, high pressure, our fair weather friend and our weather maker. That's a scene here.
I'm meteorologist Vitas Reed. Here's a look at your southeast forecast highs for today. It looks like it's going to be kind of cool up in Raleigh. Those jacket temperatures at 57 degrees, 65 in Charleston. Looking at 61 in Atlanta, 75 Mobile, as we see a little warmer air along the coast. Down in Pensacola, 74, as well as Tampa, 76 in West Palm. Looks like we have some much colder air headed our way as we get towards the weekend as the next front pushes in. But until then, it looks like we'll see a little bit of sunshine out there with high pressure.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Well, we've seen dramatic video of sides of mountains just falling off, like right here. Landslides are striking part of California this week. Emily Gracie spoke to meteorologist Joe Puma about what's causing these terrifying natural disasters.
Yeah, so basically a landslide is anything that's downsloping the natural movement of the land. And typically it happens when we're dealing with a very wet season storm that comes on shore and really just compounds a lot of rain in a very short amount of time. So I like to use the analogy of a sponge. You think of the ground, it has to be very strong to kind of support all of those buildings on a sloping terrain, but you throw a lot of rain at it, that sponge can only hold so much rain before it all becomes to run off and it all loosen up a little bit of that strength it has.
What is the difference between a mudslide, a debris flow, and a landslide?
So a mudslide and a debris flow are just different types of landslide. The debris flow is simply just the mud and the debris from houses and other things like that and trees, all just really moving downslope at a very fast pace, and it could create a dangerous situation as well.
Can a previous wildfire cause a landslide?
Absolutely. So that's a big thing. Whenever we have a big wildfire that moves across the area, it not only does damage to the trees, it really messes with the soil. So that means the soil can't really hold those trees as well. So whenever we have a lot of that earth that's been burned up, it's very loose and it's not as strong. So once the heavy rains come, that's when we have to watch out for things like mud flows and debris flows after a wildfire.
So these are dangerous all around.
Absolutely, especially since, again, a lot of times you can't really see it on radar, you can't see it on satellites, so you have to really rely on ground truth observations to actually know it's happening.
One area where the risk of landslides is increasing, the national parks of California, where wildfires left burn scars that prevent any water from being absorbed. Let's go to Shasta County, where Mason Carroll has that story.
I spoke with Kelly Nolan, the acting forest engineer for the Shasta Trinity National Forest. Now, when it comes to storms like these, he says the forest is the wrong place to be in. Their assessment of the damage comes after the storm has passed completely through, and some of their biggest concerns are areas with burn scars. So, for the Shasta Trinity National Forest, Nolan says they're paying close attention to the west side of the forest, where the August Complex, Monument Fire, and McFarland Fire burned hundreds of thousands of acres.
Well, it definitely impacts the forest. It just creates more work for us to tend to when there's heavy fires, and then we have always the following storm season to be dealing with. From an engineering perspective, it's clearing culverts, it's erosion control system to try and minimize what is expected to come eventually when the storms hit.
He says they have 2.4 million acres of forest with about 5,000 miles of roads covered by only 2 road crews. So a lot of times these trees are reported by the public.
Well, with all the rain in California, some of you may have heard the term virga being used, and you may be wondering exactly what that means. We head to Mobile, Alabama, and meteorologist LANDSLIDES to find out.
The word of the day is virga. It's something that happens around the world, and it has to do with precipitation. And remember, precipitation is rain, snow, sleet, or hail. In other words, water that falls from the clouds. Now, in this video from the National Weather Service office in Tallahassee, Florida, we see rain that falls from the clouds but doesn't reach the ground. That's the definition of virga. In the clouds, the relative humidity is 100%, but beneath it, the relative humidity was much lower, so as the liquid fell, it literally evaporated. That's virga. I'm meteorologist Alan Seals.
And while rain and severe weather battered much of California, the other side of the country is seeing a different weather situation. Maine's winter weather has been warmer than usual, upsetting ice fishermen who are eager to start the season. But as Asia Reed explains from Portland, current conditions are just too dangerous.
Ice fishermen are ready for the fishing season. The ice, however, not quite. Maine's winter weather has been warmer than usual for some of Maine's lakes.
Unfortunately, right now, we've kind of had a slow start to the winter, and people are itching to get out on the ice and enjoy the outdoors.
Little Ossipee Lake is a popular ice fishing spot in Waterboro, but Mother Nature had other plans. The water is completely open and not frozen, just as many other lakes in Maine right now.
Some fishermen say they haven't even gone out on the ice yet this season so far.
I certainly wouldn't trust the ice because the weather's been so warm lately.
Game wardens say a man's body was recovered from the ice, along with his snowmobile in northern Maine Friday. Laddie says to look out for anything that can warm the ice before going out.
Inlets, outlets, moving water, drain holes, docks, rocks, logs, anything like that will attract heat.
The next step is to safely test the ice.
You always have to keep your head on a swivel. Take a chisel with you, your ice auger, every 10, 15, 20 feet, check the ice.
He says ice conditions can change throughout the day, and never assume it's safe, even if you see others on the lake. Check for 4 to 6 inches of ice. If you're taking out a vehicle, check the ice by foot first. Laddie tells ice fishers to always carry ice picks just in case you fall in. You can push them into the ice and pull yourself out. He also says if you fall in, always exit the same way out.
And an exciting treat is coming to the skies near you, one that has not been seen in thousands of years. Let's go to Columbus, Ohio, where meteorologist Marshall McPeak has the details.
The last time it came by, the Neanderthals were likely to see it. It's got a real catchy name, C222E3ZTF. Yeah, it's a comet. They found it from the folks at Caltech back in March of 2022. Only a few months later, it started to develop a tail. So what it is rock that's rolling through the solar system. And as it gets hit by the solar wind, it begins to develop a tail of dust and ice that comes streaming off of the main rock. That's cruising through our solar system, and it's taken on a bright green glow. So with any luck, you may be able to see it in January and February. Now, it's going to be closest to the sun later this week on January 12th. But throughout both months, if you've got a nice clear night, and best if you've got a telescope, look to the northeast sky between the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper, and you should be able to see a green glow. You might be able to see it with the naked eye, but it's better if you've got some binoculars or a telescope. So you'll have another almost month to be able to see it on clear nights almost anywhere in the northern hemisphere. But look for it as a bright green glow. It's a comet that hasn't been around in 50,000 years.
And before the break, enjoy this look at freezing, fog, and low clouds near Missoula, Montana.
Well, a very good Wednesday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. Got a little bit of light wintry mix to the north and some rain showers moving their way into the Ohio Valley for the day today. That ramps up some of that rain and even some snow out in Missouri for the day tomorrow and even eastern Kansas there. However, as we roll on into your Friday, most of this is going to be kicking its way out to the east and sunshine coming out across the plains. Temperatures still running chilly over the next several days, especially as we head into the end of the week and start of the weekend.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. We're seeing some dense fog from Houston all the way down into the Brownsville area this morning. Temperatures warm near 60 degrees as far north as Dallas. During the day today, we're going to be watching the temperatures really warm up above the normal. Could reach 80s up in the Dallas area by later this afternoon. That's going to be out ahead of a Pacific front that'll roll in and bring some rain to East Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia, and that's a look at your regional weather.
Well, hi there, everybody, and a good Wednesday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Out west, it's been all about the flooding and the heavy snow in parts of the Golden State. More precipitation than we've seen in years around San Francisco, back into the Central Valley, and, of course, up into the Sierra, where more of that heavy snow is on the way for Tahoe. Big system pushing toward the west coast. This next weather maker will eventually bring some river flooding to the Pacific Northwest late this week, too. And that's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Well, we have focused much of the show on the situation in California, but we know there is weather happening across the country. Meteorologist Michael Inrenberg has your travel forecast.
Well, the next in a series of storm systems will move from west to east across the western U.S. into the Colorado Rockies on Wednesday afternoon. A lot of snow for the Rockies up into Wyoming and southern sections of Montana. And then it looks like we'll see redevelopment with a lot of rain moving through the Gulf Coast states up into the Midwest and the northeastern cities. Again, a rainmaker for this in mid-January. Snow far northern New England and across the Great Lakes, western New York, western Pennsylvania as colder air moves in behind the system on Friday. And we see the biggest snowfall, as you'd expect, will be across the higher elevations of the west, Sierra Nevada could get several feet between now and the end of the weekend. And for parts of the Appalachians, a little bit of snow as well. Far northern Maine, in excess of a foot on the colder side of the storm. Severe storm potential on Thursday in the warm sector right ahead of it. Likely severe storms for parts of Alabama, northwestern Georgia, and possible for much of the southeast up into the southern parts of the Midwest.
And keep in mind, you can find us on all of your favorite social media platforms. We've made it easy for you. Just scan the QR code in the bottom left of your screen, and you'll find all the links there. And thank you for joining us. Tomorrow on the National Weather Desk, we'll take a look at something called lightning networks and show you how they are keeping you safe from lightning strikes. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great Wednesday, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.